Today I've got a disgusting story for you, and I'm also going to be testing the largest lake in Ireland for deadly toxins. Whoa, would you look at that? It's boiling. How much more diarrhea could there be? About a year ago, I published a video on YouTube, which since then has got over 2 million views and arguably has changed my life. It's a video about this place, Lough Neagh. It is a massive lake in Northern Ireland. It's the biggest on the island of Ireland. And in that video, I uncovered a newspaper archive from over 50 years ago, which proved that over 50 years ago, they knew about a toxic algae that was forming in this lake, causing all kinds of problems. And they knew what the cause was, and nobody did anything about it. And arguably, they did things that were going to make it much, much worse, despite the fact that, I say they, kind of government incompetence. And anyway, look, it's a bit hard to explain and complicate it, but if you want to get that whole backstory, go and watch that video. It's called a 50-year cover-up that poisoned the largest lake in Ireland. And yeah, it did change my life in a way, because it's the first video I've ever published that got really crazy high views. And oh, there's a swan in a nest over there. Let's not get close. Hi, swan. You're doing a good job. We'll leave it in peace. Yeah, so that video went nuts, and kind of was one of the triggers, not the only one, but one of the triggers that skyrocketed my YouTube channel to taking off. And since then, I've been able to go full time with it. It was also a bit overwhelming in some ways. I got so many messages from different people, just comments on the video. I had people randomly got my phone number and were calling me up to ask me questions about it. I had like people with other issues that they wanted me to investigate messaging me and then getting upset when I wasn't able to investigate the things they wanted me to investigate. Like it was overwhelming, because I guess I never saw myself as like an activist. It was just an issue that I noticed, the fact that I could no longer enjoy going on this loch. I started to investigate it, and was disgusted by the causes. This year, I thought about doing a follow-up to that video, because you'd think progress would be made in a year and I should make an update video a year later. But the fact is, these kinds of issues don't get resolved in a year. It's going to take much, much longer than that. So I'm not sure if I am actually going to do a full follow-up this summer. But what I am out doing today is I've got a new bit of technology with me. I've got a rapid test kit that will let me detect if there are actually toxins from blue-green algae in the loch. Now, I really hope and expect that there aren't currently. I think it's too early in the year. It's only the middle of May. Although that said, there was blue-green algae, a small amount of blue-green algae detected away over in the west of Lough Neagh a month ago. But I think possibly that might have been the sheltered area that was, you know, a bit stagnant. So I'm hoping I won't detect any today, but it's a good chance to get out and test the kit, and see if I can use it for. There's just weird stuff all along this loch. Somebody's coat just hanging from a tree over there. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering about this kayak I'm in, this is an Oru folding kayak. It's literally a kayak. It comes in a box. The last few years I've done a lot of paddleboarding, or mostly paddleboarding, and this year I wanted to give kayaking a go, so I contacted Oru and asked would they consider sending me a couple of kayaks if I showed them off in a few videos, and they said yeah, sure. So this is their bay model. It's a closed cockpit. Comes folded down about the size of a suitcase, and you can unfold it and build it up in about 5 minutes. So it's really, really handy if you're someone who doesn't have room for, you know, like a full-length kayak, either storing it or carrying it in your vehicle. You can literally chuck this in the boot of a car and have it assembled in 5 minutes, and you're out on the water. I've been pretty impressed with it so far. So you'll probably see this kayak pop up in a couple of videos over the summers. I use it for a few adventures. I may have spoken too soon. So there are different types of algae. Not all of them are the toxic blue-green algae, but there's a lot of whatever this is in here, and I'm really hoping it's not toxic. But let's do this test and actually find out. Whew. That's going to be tricky in the other direction. Okay, so this is the test kit. It consists of, actually I looked it up, you might recognize, or at least this will look very familiar to you. Remind you of anything from a certain pandemic? It looks like a COVID test, but same idea. There's going to be a sample in here and a result will appear here, and then this is the actual kit that generates the sample. Got a pair of gloves, I will be putting those on. There's a pipette, and then there is the sample tube, and this has got some kind of chemicals in it, so I have to put this in the water for 15 seconds and then leave it for 10 minutes. Apparently it heats up, gets very hot, and then I take a sample of liquid from this and put it into that test thingy. 1, 2, 3, 4, better not drop it, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I have to set this somewhere. Whoa, would you look at that? It's boiling. Whatever chemical reaction has happened in there, it's actually boiling. Right, so I have to leave that for 10 minutes. While that is steaming away, let me tell you why I don't have a very complicated video for you this week, and that's because I've not been feeling great. I had an incident, and I'm not sure if I should share this in a YouTube video, but I'm going to share it anyway. Right, Tuesday morning, I woke up feeling quite sick. My stomach was sore, and shortly after I got up, I like vomited violently, like proper dry retching and everything. And then I felt okay after that. I had to go and get work done, so I was out for shoot all day, but I was exhausted, I had no energy, I had to keep stopping, I was just tired. And then that night I had diarrhea. Wasn't very pleasant. And then the next morning I had diarrhea, but I thought the diarrhea had probably stopped. I mean, how much more diarrhea could there be? So, and I had a job booked in that day at the Balmoral show. This was Wednesday morning. I thought, I'll be fine. So I got my van, drove to the Balmoral show. So I got parked, about to leave the van, leaned forward in my seat, and pooed myself. Substantially. Through my underwear and the shorts that I was wearing. Those were the only clothes I had with me. And I had a job I had to do. Thankfully, this doesn't get any better, but thankfully this was an hour before it was due to start. So I hopped in the back of the van. I also had Portaloo back there, which I had to sit on for quite some time. Got myself cleaned off. Managed to clean, I had wipes and water and stuff. I cleaned my shorts and my underpants. Hung them up inside the van. And after about an hour, they dried off sufficiently that I was able to put them back on again and go and work for the day. And I don't think anybody noticed. But I now think there is a small chance I might be lactose intolerant or may have developed lactose intolerance because, yeah, it seems to link to dairy-related items. But so speaking of rapid tests, I've now a lactose intolerance test on the way to find out if that's it. If that's not it, I'm just sick again for some reason. But yeah, that's my disgusting story for you, while we wait to find the results of, I guess, a disgusting test. Oh, 10 minutes is up. You know, I kind of wish that I hadn't come here. I actually came here a week ago to see what it was like, and there was, yeah, it wasn't like this at all. This is so much worse, and it's now got me kind of worried. So I'm still hoping and expecting this test result is going to be negative. But if it's not, I'm going to be leaving here. I'm going to be leaving here in a hurry. Let me put it in here. If nothing happens, if no lines appear, that means it's inconclusive. 1 line means no toxins, and 2 lines means there's toxins. So I'm hoping for 1 line. I'm not actually sure how much I'm supposed to put on there. We'll just pile it on. So we're hoping for 1 line to appear. If 2 appear, I'm in trouble. Alright, we've definitely got 1 line. It's whether or not another one develops. So far this is a negative test. And that's what I was hoping for. Giving that another few minutes so I can get a definitive answer, but I'll show you where I am. This is a weird thing. This is just like metal platform in the middle of this little lagoon area. The water's not that deep here. It's only about 4 or 5 foot deep. I'm not actually sure what this is. I think it might have been some kind of sunken barge or something like that. If you look at the surface, there's a hatch. It looks like it had some kind of keyhole in it. Something was on this beforehand. You can see where things have been cut off the deck. And then up at the top here, which is a really delightful hazard, there's a hole in it right there. Just a square hole, presumably leading down into blackness and getting trapped underneath this, which would be pretty horrible. It's been about 10 minutes now, and it is still a negative result, so I'm very happy with that. Very happy with that. That is what I expected to find, because the toxin concentrations do tend to take until later in the summer, after there's been more warm weather, to build up. So I'm very happy that is a result. Now, this doesn't actually mean there are no toxins in that water. What it does mean is that they're at a low enough concentration that this test can't pick them up. So it probably means I'm fine. Although the instructions that come with that do say that if you're someone who's really, really sensitive to those toxins, you could still get sick from them. So it's not a guarantee, but I guess it's a little bit of peace of mind. So what I'm going to do is throughout the summer, maybe every month or so, I'm going to do another one of these tests and see if some point if I do actually get a positive result, because the other option is the test doesn't actually work and that I've been scammed. I don't think I've been scammed. I think this is a proper, legitimate test. If I come out in a horrible rash tonight, we'll know it's either the test doesn't work or I'm just really sensitive. A little bit more of a follow-up to what happened after I published that video last year. One of the most significant things that happened was I did get a contact from, is this secret? I don't think it's secret. I had a contact from the Environment Minister, offering me the opportunity to go and tour some farms and see what kind of things they're doing in agriculture to try and reduce the amount of pollution that's heading down rivers. I haven't followed up on that yet. Again, there's part of me is reluctant to follow up on it so early. I mean, we don't know if it's going to change this year. We've another month to go. If the blue-green algae hasn't appeared by July, that's a good sign, and then there's something to question at that point. But the odds are it is going to turn up again this year. I'm expecting it to. So going and finding out about things that people are doing to prevent it from coming back seems a little bit pointless when there aren't really any results or any benefits to show from it. Certainly any plans that, I mean, there is lots of stuff being talked about to improve the situation, but none of those things have really happened yet to have any impact this summer. So I feel like, what's the point in making a follow-up when there isn't really anything to follow up? All I'd be doing is just moaning and complaining. So chances are I'm not going to make a comprehensive follow-up to the blue-green algae video until maybe next summer, but we'll see. I feel this is just one of these things that really needs to play out more over the long term. Here's that kayak, if you want a better look at it. The Oru Bay ST. looking pretty good. So you're going to see this in a few more adventures this year as well. Importantly, this test gives me a little bit more confidence for a camping trip that I've got planned for a few weeks, where it's going to involve these kayaks and camping somewhere on Lough Neagh. We were kind of worried the algae was going to turn up and scupper those plans. So it looks like, hopefully, that's still going to go ahead, unless things change dramatically in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully you found this slightly more low effort video interesting. And as I said, my excuse really was that I pooped my pants. Thanks for watching.